Welcome back to the channel. Pag-usapan natin to kit lens ng a7c. Maliit lang siya. Ito yung kanyang zoom 28, 35, 50, and 60. Medyo mahirap siya i-zoom. Hindi siya kasing smooth na mga high quality lenses. All made in plastic. Very compact. Ang isang na-notice na ko dito, as you can see, naka-embossed yung kanyang lens sa loob. Maybe yun ang isang design ng Sony. Kaya ito sa mga typical kit lens. Ang laki niya. Pero sa harap niya, front lens niya, maliit lang. Reason kung ba't hindi ko siya maibenta o ba't ayaw ko siyang ibenta is impress ako sa quality niya. Kino-compare ko siya sa 16mm because yun lang meron akong wide lens. 16mm na dating gamit ko siya sa Sony a6000 ko. Impress ako sa image quality itong kit lens na to. Pero syempre hindi tayo mag-expect ng magandang bokeh. I'll show you some image sample and video para makita nyo ang quality nito. Enhance lang natin ng konti. Raise the highlights para makita natin yung difference sa edited and non-edited. Just a little bit. Black, whites. Enhance konti. Sharpen. Here it is at 28mm. At 35mm. And at 60mm. And here are some unedited pictures of my 5 months daughter. Do you see the bouquet? It is an example of the background bouquet. Here at 28mm wide, all shot at wide aperture. And this is a sample video. As you can see, autofocus is very good. So, in conclusion, do you think this kit lens is good enough? Actually, there is a comparison of this with the Sigma 24-70 by Jay Syntax. And I didn't expect what she said at the end of his video. What did she concluded? So let's find out.
In this video, the second part of a two-part series, I'll be answering the question, was it worth upgrading from my cheap Sony kit lens, the standard zoom lens, to a very expensive Sigma art lens, the 24-70mm? Let's find out. Side-by-side comparison at the 28mm focal length. One is slightly a bit wider and it has nothing to do with which lens. It's just hard to get the correct zoom setting when you're using the Sigma art lens because it doesn't have a 28mm marker on the zoom range. Okay, so A1 was the Sigma lens. So how many of you got that right? To be honest, I found it really difficult to find the difference between the A1 and A2. The Sigma seems a bit warmer in terms of the color temperature tone, so maybe that's something that kind of gave the hint of which one is which. Now this is a $1,100 lens, and the other one is a $300 lens. I mean, when you buy it with the whole kit and whatnot. So I don't know. Are you paying an extra, $700 to get that better image quality, the better sharpness, better contrast when we're at stop down to f4 and above? I'm not fully sure about that because according to that test I showed in my first video, there was this website that shows the differences between the sharpness when they measured it using a very specific type of sharpness indicator. I didn't really see much difference. In fact, I did see kind of improvement on the kit lens, so it's kind of confusing. Maybe my kit lens is just a really good copy, or the kit lens is just really good, or perhaps the Sigma lens is pretty bad and I have a bad copy. I don't know. So please let me know in the comments down below. And here it is at f2.8. Obviously, there's a little bit more background blur. Okay, so same test, same system, full frame system. One is the cheap kit lens, and the other one is the very expensive, 3 times the cost, the Sigma lens. And this is obviously at a tighter focal length at 50 millimeters. So this gives you a sense of how it performs at kind of the mid-range zoom. So which one is which? Here's a side-by-side comparison, A2 or B2. Let me know what you guys think. Okay, so we're going to get to the answer. Here it is. A2 was the kit lens. And like I said before, I still don't see much difference. Obviously, we have to go to f5.6, which is unfortunate. And on the actual Sigma lens, we can go down to f2.8 to get more blur. But honestly, I'm looking at the background, and the blur looks pretty good. The bokeh looks pretty good. I'm more into video. I don't really need to have that extreme blur like what you see right now. So I don't care for that blur. And then, it's something that you're going to pay lots of money for. And I feel like it's just kind of a statement to show like, oh, I'm so good at film. So I want to wrap this whole experience of migrating from the Micro Four Thirds world to the full frame and then upgrading my kit lens. What do I think about it all in all? Well, let's go over the pros first of upgrading to the Sigma lens specifically. The pro so far is that I really do enjoy the 24mm focal length. I find that I live in a very small place and everything is really tight, so being able to get a really wide angle is critical, especially when you're filming indoors with very tight spaces. So I do appreciate that extra focal length. The 4mm does make a pretty decent difference. Although I want to caveat that with saying that I probably would survive with a 28mm if I opted to stay with the kit lens or go with the Tamron 28 to 75mm version. So what do I think about the image quality? Is it worth paying an extra $1,000 to upgrade from the kit lens? And this may be very subjective. In my personal opinion, I don't see a major difference in image quality, sharpness, and contrast. It was very hard for me to distinguish between the kit lens and the more expensive Sigma standard zoom lens when we're at f4 and above. So if you're trying to match this apples to apples at the right aperture setting, f4 and above, it's kind of very difficult to see the difference. Now, obviously, if you step down to f2.8, you're going to get that cool, very coveted bokeh background blur that every YouTuber really strives to get. But personally for me, coming from the Micro Thirds world, I'm not sure if it was worth paying an extra $1,000 to get a little bit of blurry background. Now, of course, you're going to get a faster lens, which will let in more light. So then you can theoretically use less light to light up a scene. But in the end, I'm in an indoor environment. I'm always going to have light. So I find that low light performance isn't so crucial for my certain application of this camera.
Sa mga hobbies na katulad ko, interested sa photography and video, baka naman subscribe na kayo. Marami pa tayong i-review, gaya nitong 85mm. Bakit siya yung na-choose ko over sa popular na Viltrox 85mm. And we will and my experience using this new a7c. So please subscribe and click the like button. Until next time.